Had it ever crossed your mind how our body gets the oxygen and nutrients into all parts of our body and the carbon dioxide and waste out of it? Now, you're in for a treat. For this day, we're going to discuss how the respiratory system and the circulatory system works together to distribute these materials throughout our body. So are you now ready? Let's start with this. There are three main types of blood vessels that play a major role in transporting these substances such as your oxygen, carbon dioxide, nutrients and waste throughout our body. We have our arteries that carries blood away from the heart, which narrows down into tiny blood vessels called the capillaries. This is where the substances are exchanged between our blood and our body cells. From the capillaries, the blood flows into the vein that carries blood back to the heart. The overall pattern of blood flow throughout our body is mainly composed of two loops that looks like a figure 8. The heart is located at the center where the two loops cross. In the first loop, the blood flows from our heart through the lungs and then back to the heart. This loop is called the pulmonary circulation. In the second loop, the blood is pumped from our heart throughout our body and then back to the heart. This loop is called the systemic circulation. The systemic circulation also includes the coronary circulation, which supplies blood to our heart. These two types of circulation works together to provide the necessary transport and exchange of materials within our body. Now at this point, you should be ready to learn deeper how these two types of circulation work. So let's get ready and pump our way through this lesson. When the blood from our body flows back into our heart, it contains a little bit of oxygen but high amounts of carbon dioxide. Do you know why? Because our cells use oxygen to produce energy molecule that is needed virtually by all cellular processes, which in turn produces carbon dioxide as its byproduct. The oxygen-poor blood or deoxygenated blood fills the collecting chamber called the right atrium at the heart's right side. It then flows into the pumping chamber called the right ventricle that pumps the blood into the pulmonary arteries that leads to the capillaries inside our lungs. These capillaries are in close contact with the oxygen-rich, air-filled sacs inside our lungs called the alveoli. The air inside our lungs contains more oxygen than the blood inside our capillaries. So the oxygen moves from the lungs to our blood. But what about the carbon dioxide? Yes, you're right. For some reason, the carbon dioxide moves to the opposite direction, from our blood to our lungs, from high concentration to low concentration. At this point, the blood is now oxygenated, which means it contains more oxygen than the carbon dioxide. The pulmonary circulation is complete once the blood travels through the pulmonary veins and then flows into the left side of the heart. The systemic circulation begins when the left atrium is filled with the oxygenated blood coming from the lungs. It then flows into the left ventricle that pumps the blood into the aorta, the largest artery of our body, eventually passing through the branching arteries that leads to the tiny capillaries of the different organs of our body, such as your brain, your lungs, your liver, virtually all parts of your body. These blood vessels are in close contact with our body cells, which is actually poor in oxygen but rich in carbon dioxide. So what do you think will happen? Yes, you're right again. The oxygen and nutrients moves from our blood to our body cells. And at the same time, the carbon dioxide and waste moves from our body cells into our blood. This blood, which is now low in oxygen, needs oxygenation. It then flows back to the right atrium, completing the systemic circulation and starting the pulmonary circulation again. So that is how these two systems work together to transport and exchange these vital materials inside our body. So in this lesson, you learned that there are three main types of blood vessel. The heart pumps our blood throughout our body, and the blood circulates through the systemic and pulmonary circulation. Thank you for listening. I'm Marian Rodrigo D. Mariguis III of President National High School, Schools Division of Bulacan.